We're back with joke time. Why are basketball players such messy eaters? Because they're always dribbling. Me, on the other hand, I'm shooting and scoring 2 points. Let's go back to 757 Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there, and welcome to another edition of 757 Sports Talk. It's powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. With the Coach Ed Young, I am Matthew Hatfield. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, feel good. Good evening last night. Went out, listened to some nice music. We may play a snippet of it later on in the show so people can see where it is. I ain't going to say where it was.
They'd rather see Pool Man like Woody than your music. That's just my
Pool Man is, like I said, we are undergoing extensive opportunities to get rid of Pool Man because, somebody said you're too hard on him, Hatfield. Now, why don't you give me? So I went back and I listened to some of the jokes, and I've stepped up. I'm getting Ice involved in this one because if the jokes were good, I would say okay.
Oh, they're fantastic.
They're absolutely. Most of them make absolutely no sense. I didn't laugh at any of them.
And that's not true. That's not true because you did comment on one of them and said that one to have bad. So you had to have chuckled if you said it.
I think I gave you credit on one because somebody even told me they said they all can't be bad. I said, okay, let me go back and look. But anyways, we're working on that.
Amen, Woody. We're going to take this puppy into September, maybe into October. We're going to take it as long as we can. As long as we can.
Woody, I'm beginning to think the only thing worse than Pool Man would be you in the pool with Pool Man.
Don't hit on Woody. Listen, Woody speaks for the legions of fans, okay?
Woody speaks for himself.
And he speaks for the legions of fans. Let's go. We have a lot to go over on the show. But we have some special guests. We have a Hall of Famer, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer David Teel coming up with us at 10:30 this morning Eastern. We also have from the NBA's Phoenix Suns. Full disclosure, by the way. We taped this interview with Mark Williams because his camp is going on as we speak right now. Saturday morning at 10:04 a.m. Eastern. We taped this week. I know there's a few of our listeners out there that can't tell sometimes if something's live or taped, in particular one that we know really well, who's got about a 12.6% success rate at guessing that. He'll argue otherwise, and I hope he gets on the chat and says otherwise. But anyhow, want to let him and others know that it was taped, but we were glad to have him on, and you'll hear that at 11 o'clock this morning. Talks about life in the NBA in addition to his camp that is going on at Norfolk Academy this week. But Ed, all kinds of craziness happening in the world of sports. I'm sure you're caught up to speed with the NCAA, and they get the I guess you could say small or big victory in court for now. The legal war's been going on. You have all kinds of zaniness. We'll get into that with David Teel. I know you want to ask about how they have the ruling that gets reversed by the appeals court, that they had initially granted the federal judge that they would let players that played 4 straight years in 2022, 2023, get that 5th year. NCAA puts out a letter to tell the schools their eligibility rules are back in effect. But this does not reverse the federal judge's decision for those prior to the decision. Doesn't wipe out, those that successfully petitioned for restraining orders to play that 5th season in state courts around the country. So you have that, and you have college athletes now that were pros that are coming back from the pro ranks of the college. I know it's good. That'll spin you on a 25-minute rant, by the way. So keep your watches synchronized and watch closely here because he'll get upset about that. We have high school football is back. High school football is back. In fact, we have some finals from last night around the state of Virginia. You want some music to our scoreboard? Let's do it. We got some scores. Yes, look at these finals. Let's go through them, Coach. 8-man football. The Gators of Greenbrier Christian 43. Rappahannock County 0. Twin Springs comes up short against Providence Academy of Tennessee 28-6. Southern Gap makes its debut and gets the W 22-6 over the Holston Cavaliers. Remember, they were once hotter than a stolen car, Butch or Ed. And the Virginia High Bearcats. How about those Bearcats of Virginia High taking on Richlands? Remember, Richlands used to be a power, the Blue Tornado, when Greg Mance was the coach there. Well, it ended up being Virginia High against Richlands, and it was the Bearcats getting the better of Richlands 21-6. Jeray Bryant and Bryson Lester, a couple of key turnovers there, I should say takeaways for that Virginia High defense as the Bearcats get a W. Any analysis of what? Well, big one today at Emory and Henry is Laura Botetourt. New coach Nick Leftwich takes over as Jamie Harless departed for the Union Bears. They play Rye Cove, the Eagles, who have won back-to-back Region 1D titles under Coach Gary Collier. We'll see if they can do it again this year with Eastside, the favorite in Class 1, as all 22 starters are back for the Spartans of Eastside in Coburn. Ladies and gents, as Ed wipes his eyes, he thinks I'm speaking Chinese because he has no idea what the heck I'm talking about right now. I'm speaking a foreign language with all these teams from Southwest Virginia to him, as he just tries to act like he's in the know and is able to give some insight.
I see the scores last night. I went 3-1. 3-2. I lost. I didn't know nothing about Providence Academy from Tennessee, so I took Twin Springs, and that wasn't a good pick.
You made it up. All right.
And I'm going to go with Ryan Cove today.
Rye Cove. By the way, we've got the schedules right there on the ticker. We've been doing our top 10 countdowns on VirginiaPreps.com. And for all you high school football fans, Ed and I are going to record Sunday night. It'll probably drop on Monday. And it'll be on television for the folks that watch on Cox and YourView. And those channels are available at your fingertips. Just check your guides. We are on different channels, as you see right there on the screen, in Hampton Roads, Northern Virginia, Fredericksburg, and Roanoke. Our high school football preview for the 757 will come your way Monday, and it'll be on social media too. We'll give you our predictions, top 4 for the Beach, Eastern, Southeastern, and Peninsula District, as well as the Bay Rivers District. We've done a bunch of football interviews throughout the summer at some scrimmages on the show. I mean, the list of coaches, probably about 25 plus or so we've had on in some capacity. And we've got a few more for you later today, including Great Bridge's Joey Wood, Dyrri McCain of the reigning 3-time state champion Maury Commodores in Class 5, and Gerard Johnson, he of LC Bird. Have you heard? Bird is the word. The Skyhawks scrimmaged Maury on Thursday night. I didn't make it over to Powhatan last night, and I didn't think I'd get it in time. I texted your good buddy and former pupil that you coached at Norview, Jonathan Wilson, the football coach and girls basketball coach over there at Granby. And I ended up taking a nap. You know me, I don't get much sleep this time of year. I missed the scrimmage. They had storms, and then they was going to get in with them in Lancetown. But they did get it in. But we'll do our top 4 picks for each district and give you our player of the year selections for offense and defense as well, coming up on, well, it would be Sunday night we record it, but Monday on the show. So there you have it. Good to do that as we say good morning to everybody out there from Woody to LeVar and so many more. This is going to be an interesting year in high school football. I think we have some good games on tap this week. You see Western Branch Phoebus. It's a rare game you get on a Thursday early in the season. Maury plays Mallard Creek out of North Carolina on Friday at Powhatan. Some interesting beach games. Green Run's got that long winning streak, 60-plus games in a row. You got Kellum and Lancetown squaring off, 2 of the best players around, with the Wake Forest commit Aaron Smith at wide receiver for Kellum and the star-studded junior quarterback Anthony Turner for Lancetown. And Ed, this is the final Saturday, the last one for a long time without college football. College football is back next week, so get yourself all reared up and ready to go. We've got the pigskin action back.
Yeah, I'm excited about high school football. I'm excited about college football. I'm excited about the NFL, whenever the hell that will finally start. It should start the Sunday before Labor Day, but it doesn't. So,
well, don't you think preseason? Don't you think preseason football counts?
Yeah, I got some preseason action. I saw the Raiders eke out a win against the Texans. I'm just anxious. In high school football, what I'm a little bit anxious about is there's a small feeling that some powerhouse teams may not be powerhouse this year for various reasons.
Would you like to elaborate on which of those teams you may be referencing, or do you want to hold that for the preview?
No, not right now, no.
Well, what makes you say that? Go ahead. I'll let you continue on. Go ahead.
I'll do that at the preview time. We touched upon this, might have been last week's show, and I remember saying teams with strong traditions, I'm going to pick to win until they lose, which I said sounds like a dumb statement, but meaning that I don't care who's coaching now. I don't care what change of players. If they have a strong tradition, I'm going to stick with tradition until they start losing and then say, well, guess they're not almost an automatic pick anymore. They're going to have to earn it. And I got a feeling there's a couple teams that might be in that idea or aurora this year for because of some changes. And I'll elaborate more on the high school preview show. So those people, make sure you tune in for that, and we'll go from there. But I'm looking to see that. College, I think the powerhouses will still be there. Everybody knows I always go for my Notre Dame Irish. A lot of people think they can win the national title this year. I hope so, but I don't think they will. And, of course, in the pros, I think most people are looking at the Rams and maybe I think the Bills as the two Super Bowl teams. I think one of them can get there for sure. Don't think both will. They would be my picks. They would be my picks to get to the Super Bowl right now. But we'll see.
Okay. Let us know who you think will be the biggest surprise in 2026. Ed and I are going to give you some surprises maybe on our football preview show. But I know last year you took Lake Taylor, which you knocked out of the park. That was a home run grand slam. They won a state championship after going 3-7 the year before. I took Chilhowie, which went 3-7 the year before and went 10-2. I don't have just one specific surprise, although I could give you one in the 7-5-7. In fact, I'll give you one in the 7-5-7 right now, but I have about 7 or 8 that I'm going to put up on VirginiaPreps.com as well around the state that I'll mention perhaps in the preview show. But around here, I think the biggest surprise is going to be Lansdowne. I know you're a little bit bullish on them. I'm a little higher. Look, I think Robert Jackson's a veteran coach, number one. Anytime you have a quarterback that's being nationally acclaimed, and not just the quarterback, they got a linebacker. You remember Devion Simmons back in the day. His son, Bear, Zakir Simmons, is a heck of a player. I'm not saying they're knocking off Green Run, but I'm going to say I think they're going to be a lot better to where they're in those games with the Green Runs and Sims as opposed to getting, for lack of a better phrase, whitewashed, getting destroyed in those games. So they're going to be in those games with a chance. And I think come playoff time in Region 6A, I don't see a gap between Oscar Smith and the rest of those teams. I think people say, oh, my goodness, you're again, crapping on Oscar Smith. No. They lost up to 12 players that were all region or all state on their team. Only one's back. So injuries, transfers, graduation, they lost a lot of guys. That has an effect. It doesn't mean they're bad. It means I think other teams, they have to replace some guys. And other teams like the Thomas Dales, the Manchesters, the LC Birds, the Lansdownes have an opportunity to close that gap because Oscar Smith was just so dominant the last 2 years. So I'm fascinated by that on the local front. In college football, we'll get into it with David Teel. There's all kinds of storylines, I think, in the Commonwealth, too. We have that Liberty JMU game early on in the season, which we talked about with Paul Stone and Phil Steele when they came on in the summertime. And then you want to see who is that front runner for the Heisman. There's our quarterbacks out there all over the place, including one for your Fighting Irish, but we think of Arch Manning for Texas. We think of Dante Moore for Oregon with those early opportunities, the big games that involve the Texases, the Ohio States, the Oregons of the world. And in the NFL, I always am fascinated by the surprises, but it does feel like more than in recent years, a lot of people are just saying Rams and the Bills. And I feel like we're disrespecting some other teams that are darn good out there. Like Kansas City had one down year. Mahomes and Andy Reid all of a sudden become stupid. The Seahawks are defending champions. They didn't all of a sudden become bad. I don't know that it's – once in sports we have it all figured out that it's going to be Bills and Rams is when neither one of them usually gets there. So, and by the way, Bills have a new coaching staff, and the Rams have a great yet aging quarterback. Matthew Stafford is no longer a spring chicken. And we've had the whole Puka Nacua offseason situations. You don't know if he'll be fully engaged and great all year. We know when he's on the field and producing, he's as good as anybody at the position. But there's a lot that's and I think for people that follow the teams around here, you think of certainly on the NFL front, but a lot of people follow certainly the popular teams, the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Patriots. But the Commanders, the Panthers, the Ravens from a regional perspective. Will Jane Daniels have a bounce back year for Washington after the subpar season they had and the injury? And again, going back to what I said with Mahomes and the Chiefs and the Seahawks, Ed, Jane Daniels was so phenomenal as a rookie. There was naturally going to be a drop off if the rest of his team couldn't maintain its level or produce. So I don't think he all of a sudden is just, he was overhyped. I don't think he'll have the decline sharply that CJ Stroud had after his rookie season. You agree?
Yeah, I think he bounces back, and I say that with the knowing in my head, I'm picking the Commanders for last place in a extremely tough division. I'm drinking some of the Kool-Aid for the Giants and Harbaugh coming over there, John Harbaugh.
That defense got to get better though against the run. Now they have Scatterbo and Dart, but they got to get better against the run. It might take a year for Harbaugh to get entrenched there. But
I'm picking the Giants third. So it's going to be them or the Commanders. Definitely one of those two last place. That I would put bet on. I think it's Cowboys, Eagles, Eagles, Cowboys, and I am going with Cowboys. I think we talk about everybody in the whole world every year. So it's Cowboys year. Well, I've been saying that for 20 some years. So you're bound to hit on them sooner or later. But I think that defense is shored up. Von Miller was a great sign, but I'm not saying because they signed Von Miller, they're going to the Super Bowl. You know, Von Miller's one player, and he's not the Von Miller of 5, 6, 7 years ago. But
hold on. I did this on our TV portion on Monday. I think he could have a Reggie White type effect on the Cowboys. You go look at it. I broke this down. If you go back and find that on our social pages, and we did it on TV. Go back and look at Reggie White's age when he came to the Packers. They had Brett. Now again, Brett Favre, 3-time MVP, is a little different than Dak Prescott. I grant you that. But Prescott does produce yards. He hasn't had the moments in the big games. I think the NFC, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Miller goes there and has not necessarily a rebirth, but a profound effect and gives them more of a presence defensively with the pass rush. I mean, to win in the NFL now, and I said this, it's not like you can do it with the Ravens with Trent Dilfer, or the Bears got to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. You got to have an elite passer and fourth quarter pass rush. That's what it comes down to. You got to have that. Now, Prescott's not an elite passer all the time. He is at regular season moments against the average to below average team. But if they can have an elite pass rusher close to it, again, goes back to what I was saying with the high school teams. It closes that gap between the Eagles and the Cowboys. You've got the Cowboys winning division. And now all of a sudden they can be a contender in the playoffs where, all of a sudden Dallas fans are thinking they're like the New York Knicks. They're going to break that long curse. I'm not there yet, but they at least have the faith right now. Everybody, that's the thing about August in football. And I'm sure Teel will touch on this when he comes on. Everybody of every team, you have hope. It's just like opening day in baseball. You have hope. And if you have hope, that gets you juiced up until, the Raiders lose 34-6 in the opener, although you won't lose 34-6 in the opener. You play the Dolphins until that hope disappears.
Raiders are guaranteed to win their first game in Miami. Guaranteed. After that, no more guarantees. My own team, the Raiders, I think at best, maybe 10 wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's best. And that's stretching it. That's a division that's not easy at all. And, we're looking at Kirk Cousins or everybody's flavor of the year, Mendoza, who did not look that great in the preseason game that they won, but he did not play in the second half. Played the first half, and statistics weren't great. But I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in preseason and whatever. But that's a tough division. You mentioned Kansas City earlier. I got Kansas City over Denver. I think you like Denver in the.
I liked the Chargers to win that. We were NFL over-unders. Well, hold on. I liked the Chargers to win that division until the recent announced injury on the offensive line to Tyler Biadasz, who's got the ACL, and he's a big deal for that offensive line. So without Biadasz, that makes me lean back towards Broncos Chiefs. It's really a 3-team race, but again, hope is what you want. Optimism is what you want. You want to be thinking, all right, my team is in this, and that's where we are with it.
Yeah, It just, it's intriguing when you look at certain divisions. Going back to NFC, NFC, I think is it the North Division? Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit, Minnesota. I mean, I've seen different analysts. Every one of those teams has been picked to win that division. I've heard different people, and I've heard each team get a vote as they can win that division easily. And I'm like, I got them separated by like one game each, and I'm going with Green Bay to win that division, though I keep looking hard at Detroit, and they come back here. But it does seem like in pro football, a lot of the divisions, there's not a whole lot of difference between supposed number one and number four. And you're right. More than any other player in any other type of sport, you better have a quarterback. He better be healthy. If he does go down, your number two better be good enough to get him down the field somewhat, because if you don't have a quarterback, you're in trouble. Big trouble.
Well, look at it in comparison to baseball. Your league favorites in baseball were Dodgers, Yankees. Dodgers winning the NL West by almost a dozen games. I think it's 9 over San Diego and Arizona. They've won a couple of extra inning games here lately with their wins over Colorado. I believe the Pirates. But the Yankees are trailing the Rays now by 3 in the American League East. But the 3 favorites to reach the Super Bowl, Rams, NFC, Ravens, Bills, and AFC, none of them won their divisions last year. Seahawks won the NFC West. Pittsburgh won the AFC North on that comeback at the end, last game of the regular season. And New England won the AFC East over Buffalo. It's rare that you have that. But the turnover in pro football, it goes back to the stat that we dropped a few different times, is that if you look at the National Football League, going back to the last, I've got it right here just to make sure I don't get it wrong. There's been at least 4 new playoff teams for 36 consecutive years. 36 straight years. 4 new teams. Think about that. That is just bonkers to me. Heard that from the guys at VSiN, by the way. It's a great stat.
Yeah, and if you go by that again this year, now we start wondering who those 4 teams are in. Right. And I would say Lions could be one of them.
Lions, Ravens, you said Cowboys, Bengals. There's a lot of those trendy picks that are, and the Chiefs, teams that you think are in the playoffs that were not in the playoffs, and have been to, in the case of the Chiefs and Bengals Super Bowls. That, it's gonna be fascinating.
But you're right. It's the start of the season. Everybody's 0-0. Everybody is hopeful. Everybody thinks their team at whatever level is going to go playoffs. Until you get out there, that's why we play the games.
Yeah.
So there was an earlier question I saw come across the board. We'll probably talk about it later. They want me to give you some brief on.
No.
All I'm going to say is this. I was watching it the other day, and they were talking about the situation of last year where some crazy idiot fan was getting on Marte for the death of his mother.
By the way, the jersey I've got on today is Mr. Marte, if you can see back in my
right. And he was crying and everything. And then the next thing I know was they were getting ready to start a game this year with his name in the lineup, and he's not even in the dugout.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make fun of it or whatever.
You saw the latest with him now, right? Or have you not been following this latest?
Figure you would give us the update.
Well, I'm not trying to. I didn't want to talk about this, but people have been knowing that my Diamondbacks, that's my team. We'll show you the little Torey Lovullo clip before we go to break here and bring in the Hall of Famer himself, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer David Teel here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. But Ketel Marte was spotted in a casino. Oh, that's the picture there. There he is at the casino on, I guess that was Friday night. Torey Lovullo, who was in tears the initial game in Boston after the loss over this. Lovullo has been somewhat outspoken, but also tried to keep it clean too. But here's a little bit what he said with the media. We can play.
Salt River doing everything he was supposed to do. When you're turned loose from the medical team over there, you're allowed to go home and have an evening with your family. So he's free to do whatever he wants. That's how I look at it. As long as he wakes up tomorrow morning and posts and gets his work done at Salt River, which I am certain he will, that's all that matters to me right now.
All right. He's certain he's going to get his work done in Salt River. I don't know, Ed. I don't know if
okay. Let me clear this up.
If so the family, going home with your family is in the casino either.
Okay, my thing is, so the game he missed, that nobody knew where he was in the lineup.
Yes.
He was at the casino.
No. That was this is what's been trending on. Matter of fact, it's the first thing I wake up to on social media is text from a couple of buddies, and on the right hand panel on X or Twitter is it trending about Marte being spotted in the casino, which was Friday night, but he was nowhere to be found. I guess that was Monday. I haven't kept up with the timeline. Bottom line is this: it's a very weird situation. You hope that he gets back. Now, he was limping. There also is video of him in the casino limping around, by the way. So he doesn't seem to be healthy. But it's a mess right now. It's a mess. By the way, here's my bigger gripe, though. I'm not going to get on Marte because he's a great player and he's a clutch player. What I will – and listen, I do agree with your pal and friend. We've been on the show with us a lot of times, Tim Kirkchin. I do agree with Kirkchin's premise that the one thing in baseball you can't do is availability. You got to be able to show up or at least communicate and show up. Now, you can strike out, you can miss pitches, you can have mistakes, but that I do understand that point. What bothers me is that their record's 6 games over 500, and they would be 4 games up on the rest of the lousy American League for the last wild card spot, and his team is gonna, for like the third time in 4 years, miss the playoffs by an inch. I can smell it, sense it. The pessimist in me already knows it because the Phillies and Padres are just better. Hate to say that, but it's just the truth. The pitching's unreliable, the closing situation. And they got 2 guys out with Tommy Johns. By the way, rest in peace to Tommy John, who recently passed away. But Corbin Burns, who they'll get back, and the closer, Justin Martinez, who they'll get back. And they need another starter and another closer. So, but yeah, that's where I am with it. It's just a tricky situation. Oh, look who chimes in. One of our favorites, Melinda McCain out there. We'll hear from her son later. I'm back. NFC East is most unpredictable. Giants, Gators, Maury, Commodores. She says go to all of them. So we love Melinda out there. You'll hear from her offspring, Dyrri McCain, later in the show. But when we come back here on Cova Sports TV, Ed, we're joined by the living legend himself. He of the Virginian Pilot Daily Press, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer. He was at ACC Media Days, and I'm sure he can shed some light on everything in the Atlantic Coast Conference, from the Hokies and Who's to the Heels, too. Will life get better for Bill Belichick in Chapel Bill in year 2? It's all on the way on 757 Sports Talk. Where are they watching, Coach?
Hey, this is Cova Sports TV. We want you to like us. We hope you subscribe, and definitely keep on watching.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there, because here you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Authentic Italian cuisine can be found in just one place in Hampton Roads, Il Giardino Ristorante in Virginia Beach. Il Giardino offers veal, seafood, chicken, pasta, vegetarian, and pizza creations. Add the sounds of the piano bar and lounge, and it's no wonder Il Giardino is such a popular local spot. Open daily at 5 p.m.
Welcome to the most honest commercial you'll ever see.
And as you can see, me and you are both having trouble starting to talk.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that you're breathing in every day.
Yeah. Like 50% of the air in the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is coming from down here.
Yes, sir.
How's your crawl space looking? You say we're going to be here a while.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get busy.
Get a free and honest inspection with JES Foundation Repair, a Groundworks company.
Oh, what a beautiful day. It's such a good day. A day that we can say is great for a joke time. And somebody wanted to know, why are elevator jokes so good? And I told them because they work on many levels. Let's go back to 757 Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on Cova Sports TV.
And we're back here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe with the Coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield, and Ed, we are joined by a special guest here on the program. He's been on with us before. He is the one and only Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, longtime sports scribe and columnist with the Daily Press and Virginian Pilot. Give him a follow on the X at @ByDavidTeel, our good friend and pal, David Teel. Welcome, sir. How'd the summer treat you and the Teel clan? Like I squeeze in my pool time, I know you were able to get away for a tiny bit to enjoy a vacation of some sorts, yes?
Oh yeah, we did some traveling like we normally do. This year we were blessed to go out a couple times. Once to the Badlands of South Dakota and North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, and then a little separate trip out to Denver.
Not bad, not bad. Pretty good stuff there. Now, we will get into all the college football things with you, but it was just another typical offseason in college sports, right? And I know Ed's going to rant about this later on with all the news. I mean, there's never a day where you can get an easy night's rest without something buzzing on your phone or notifications, right?
You can't, Matt. It is one daily court ruling after another, many of them conflicting one another. So good luck figuring out who's eligible, who's not, where the Protect College Sports Act stands. It's been a messy offseason, and the games can't get here fast enough.
Amen to that. Now, before we tackle a wide range of topics, and especially that one with Ed, with you, let's start here in the Commonwealth. You cover it like nobody else, in my opinion. There are 5 FBS programs in the state, with UVA coming off a trip to the ACC championship game under Tony Elliott. JMU, a surprise berth in the college football playoff a season ago as they undergo another coaching change with UCLA swiping its big whistle. Old Dominion, double-digit wins in its best season under Ricky Ronnie. Liberty trying to bounce back from a rare down year, and now Virginia Tech entering the James Franklin era. I've got a number written down, and I want to see if it matches yours, but I turn to you as the authority. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. How would you rate the health status of college football in the state of Virginia? And I'll allow you, David, to incorporate FCS programs like William & Mary, Hampton, Norfolk State, D2s like the Virginia State and Virginia Unions of the world, even D3 with Christopher Newport on very solid footing. Assess it for me and grade it 1 to 10. Go ahead.
Oh, the state as a whole, I'll probably give it a 7, Matt. As you mentioned, you've got Liberty coming off a rare down season. Obviously, Michael Vick and Norfolk State have a lot to work on. Hampton University has some elevation to accomplish. William & Mary, I believe, has had 5 consecutive winning seasons. You mentioned the double-digit wins at Virginia and Old Dominion last year. JMU is a perennial winner, and you've got the intrigue of Billy Napier coming in after his abbreviated tenure at Florida. And then the James Franklin intrigue in Blacksburg.
Believe it or not, Ed, that's the exact number I have written down here on the sheet. You probably can't see it, 7 for David. And I said with the possibility of 8, probably David hinging the most on, and all those teams have potential, but Virginia Tech with Franklin. That's where a lot of eyes are looking to see what they do, is if the Hokies can be one of those crash the party for the playoff or even get to an ACC championship game like Virginia. Is that fair to say?
I think it's fair to say that the intrigue is there, Matt. I don't think such an expectation in year 1 is necessarily fair. Kurt Signetti ruined it for all coaches and fan bases by turning Indiana around so quickly. Maybe Tony Elliott and Virginia are more the norm, but clearly Virginia Tech is going to be better coached, and the roster is also better. So how that translates against a more difficult schedule is what everyone's trying to figure out.
Ed?
David, I first of all, thanks for coming on again. Always a pleasure to get you. And you're talking about your vacation to the Badlands. I said to myself, well, at least when he went to those states, I don't think anybody can get a hold of you because I don't even know if they have any cell phones out that way. Do they have any towers? I know there's a lot of grizzly bears out that way and elk and moose and all that stuff. So you picked a good place to go to not get bothered, I think.
Yeah, we probably saw Ed more wildlife than we did cell towers.
I wouldn't, that one I can see. I can honestly believe that because ain't a whole lot happening in those states, and no disrespect to the people out there. They love it. It just won't catch me out that way. I'm not all for them grizzly bears, and the moose and the elk are okay, but them grizzly bears, I'm not all for that one. David, before we get into this NCAA stuff, just my thing on Virginia Tech. I told Matt, I look for Virginia to have a better year than Tech. Tech's non-conference schedule looks to be decent for them, but they have a team called Old Dominion on that schedule. And we know what's happened in the past between Virginia Tech and Old Dominion. I just feel, even though more eyes I think are on Tech, I just think Virginia will have a better season. And then, of course, at the end of the year, they collide. So that might be the telling thing for those two teams.
I think Virginia is the better team, Coach, especially along the offensive line where often games are won and lost. Virginia's projected starting five guys combined have started 161 college football games and have more than 11,000 snaps among them. That is an absurd level of experience. And it's not just experience, it's quality experience. 4 of the 5 have been at one point in their careers all conference performers, either in the ACC or in their previous stops. That is a foundation that any college coach would want. And then you combine it with Bo Prabula coming in from Missouri at quarterback. They really like their running backs, not only in-house with X Brown, but you've also got Peyton Lewis coming in from Tennessee and Middlebrook from Middle Tennessee. I think they're very deep there. And number 5, Cam Robinson is back and trending toward healthy at linebacker. And when healthy, I would argue he is the best defensive player in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I think Virginia, I will be surprised if Virginia does not win at least 8 regular season games. And when is the last time you could say that about the Cal? I think the last time you would have thought that was 2019 when Bryce Perkins headlined the returners. And sure enough, the Cavaliers won the ACC Coastal and made their first conference title game appearance.
You know, it's interesting too, David, on the recruiting front, as you follow like I do. You know, those years they had under Mike Leonard when they got all those 5 stars, the Quinn Blandings, the Andrew Browns, the Taquan Mizels of the world, and then they haven't gotten as many 757 guys, but they've had a great amount of success getting those small school standouts like a Juan Thornhill, who's going on to NFL success, and now Cam Robinson came from Essex and Tappahannock. Mm-hmm. They've gotten some gems there to where you look at them and you say, my goodness, these are guys that are best in the conference, going on to play in the pros. You know, quietly, as much as we focus on how many guys they get from the 757 or the 804, they've gotten some good gems there.
Their talent evaluation, Matt, not only in the high school ranks, but also the transfer portal has been exceptional, especially here of late. And that's a credit to not only Tony Elliott and his assistants, but also general manager. You got Justin Spiros running that show after Tyler Jones left for Stanford. but it has proven to be a very effective organization at the front office level.
Talking with David Teel, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Give him a follow on the X at by David Teel. Also read his work in the Virginian Pilot, Daily Press, pilotonline.com, dailypress.com. And David, you were at ACC Media Days. Certainly attention about Miami getting to the national championship game last year. How do they follow it up? SMU, which you documented in the paper recently here, as they've been a big program. Clemson's been up and down. But North Carolina, we go there. Chapel Bill, if you will, year 2 of the Bill Belichick era and that experiment. And UNC just named Billy Edwards as its starting quarterback, who, ironically enough, I bring that up because I tell the audience that back when I did my weeknight radio show on ESPN, he actually announced he was going to Old Dominion in his senior year at Lake Braddock, his verbal commitment. Never played there. He said that on the airwaves. He's going to ODU. Spends 3 seasons at Maryland, 1 at Wisconsin, now in Chapel Hill. Anyways, do you see it getting any better for the Heels in Chapel Bill?
No, I just don't. And it certainly could, but there has to be some proof of concept. And the roster does not appear to be any better. I know they went all in on high school signees during the offseason with 40-some, but freshmen don't normally come in at the college level and just flip a program. And oh, by the way, the schedule is far more challenging this season than a year ago when the Tar Heels went 4-8 and closed with losses to State, Carolina, and Wake.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
or State, Wake, and Duke. Excuse me, I misspoke.
State, Wake, and Duke. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to get a whole lot better there, Ed, for UNC, which, by the way, made a big basketball hire as well with Mike Malone on the hardwood, who I know, Ed, you're a big fan of. But it's going to be a tricky year for UNC fans down there in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I'm with Ed on Mike Malone. It may take more than a year. The roster for if they're really banking on Neo Abdallas, the transfer from Virginia Tech, being a game changer, call me skeptical. Now, if Henry Vasar had stayed, we'd have a different conversation.
Okay.
But Michael Malone's an NBA championship coach. He's going to figure it out. And if they give him the resources, surely he is going to get the bodies where expectations and resources will come together the way Tar Heel faithful are accustomed to.
You saw from one of your good pals and ours too, Jason Bryant, Mr. Wrestling, said hello to you. But we got a couple of questions before I let Ed chime in with some more with you here. David Teel with us on Cova Sports TV. Gone Fishing today wants to know, David, which college team has the best defense? I'm guessing his options are of the 5 FBSs there with ODU, JMU, Liberty, the Hokies, and the Who's. You got a choice there?
That's a very challenging question. You look, James Madison and Old Dominion both and UVA were both among, or all three were among the top 25 last season in scoring defense. I mean, they were really good. Now, Virginia against better competition, but man, Old Dominion, I believe, returns a handful of starters and 3 top-end reserves. And I was talking with Blake Seiler, their defensive coordinator, the other day over in Norfolk, and he really likes a lot of their JUCO pickups as well as some of their traditional portal acquisitions. I'm not as familiar with the Duke's depth chart on the defensive end. I just know they have had a lot of turnover. I would say it's either Virginia or Old Dominion, and I would lean Virginia.
Little nugget here, David. I do the women's basketball for ODU. I haven't had a chance to call an ODU win over JMU, which I know is your alma mater and my dad's, by the way, who ribs me all the time. I got to call a men's basketball broadcast last year, filling in for Tel Alexander. This year, I'm on the call for an ODU JMU football game. So we'll see if I can get a W for the Monarchs this time over the Dukes on the gridiron, Ed.
And that is a curiously timed game. It is the conference opener for both. It's September 26th in Norfolk. And the teams that are picked 1-2 in the Sun Belt East, JMU was picked to win. Old Dominion picked to finish second. This is in a poll of, I believe it was just the coaches in the Sun Belt. And JMU will be coming off a 10 p.m. Eastern kick at San Diego State. And they have to fly back in the wee hours, then get their sea legs back, and then travel, albeit not far, but still have to travel to Old Dominion and play their chief conference rival in their league opener. That is not an easy turnaround.
No, not fun, Ed. Not fun for them.
No, that's going to be definitely going to be interesting. That having to rival that game that quick, with them being 1 and 2, and then the Dukes, what David just said, playing already earlier, which is at least they get a game under their belt. But the way they're doing it out west, late start, come on back with all that hypeness. Well, I kind of feel right now that's going to help Old Dominion a hell of a lot for that game.
Yeah.
But again, you got to play them on the field. And speaking of playing them on the field, David, you got to help me out. I don't know what the hell is going on with these courts, the NCAs. I want to ask the question, but I was reading it and I said to myself, I don't even know what the hell I'm reading. We get the NCAA who is trying hard to grab back the reins and run college sports, because everybody says the NCAA has no authority anymore. It's the courts. Well, the NCAA tries to put up this. Well, here's what we're going to do. You got 5 years to play. This is the way it is. Here's when it starts. I want to hear nothing about waivers, whatever. Here it is. So they kind of stand up and use the big man voice. Then here we go with the NCAA saying, well, we're going to give a 5th year to these guys that played 4 straight years, 2023. Well, then a court says, wait a minute. No, if you're going to do that, then we got some other guys who deserve to play. And we find out these other guys just got cut from some NFL teams. So they've been in camp with the NFL teams, and now they decide, well, screw trying to play pro. I'm going to go back and play another year of college ball first. Now, whoever's heard of that? And then you get another court that says, no, wait a minute. We're going to go back. We're going to let the NCAA do what they can. And meanwhile, the guy in the front office, well, the president, signs an order that we've got to fix college athletics. So where does that come in? David, I expect you to be the expert in all this. What is going on?
Gee, thanks, Ed. Let's see where to start. I would shove the presidential executive order to the side. That has no juice. So I wouldn't worry about Mr. Trump's. I don't even know if he wrote it, but someone on the White House staff did. The issue with 5 for 5 makes perfect sense. You do eliminate the waiver process, and if you have bad injury luck, sorry, but that's just the way life rolls. But the challenge was always going to be implementation. And do you grandfather in? If so, how many classes? Because look at it this way, guys. No matter, even if they had grandfathered in the 2022 incoming freshmen, then you could have seen 2021 or 2020 folks saying, wait a second, why weren't we given that opportunity? That was the basis for the entire House antitrust suit, the class action that led to rev share and NIL and all that we have endured for the last year plus. And they wanted their back pay. So if they had made it retroactive to 2022, then the 21 guys, some lawyers were they were going to pounce no matter what. So I think the NCAA was in a no-win situation. I was talking to Ricky Ronnie about this the other day, and he said he had no problem with the implementation. You needed to have a cutoff date. And I'm with him. I've got no problem with eliminating the 2022 class. I mean, is it bad luck for them? Yeah. But Ricky had kind of an interesting comparison. If you get pinched for doing 67 in a 55 zone, and then 2 weeks later, they increase the limit in that area to 65, you were still guilty 2 weeks ago. You still don't have a case. And if you take that logic, the 2022 guys just don't have a case. And that's what the 10th Circuit ruled yesterday in overturning the Colorado federal ruling that basically said everybody's eligible. Now, are some still eligible? Yes, because they were named plaintiffs in individual state cases. I know it gets confusing, but that's why you see Seth Trimble, who just went to Louisville for basketball, because he was not a named plaintiff in a state case. Right now, based on the 10th Circuit, he's out of luck. Whereas Trent Hendrick, linebacker from James Madison, who was the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year, he is a named plaintiff in one of the state cases. I believe it's Louisiana, may be incorrect there. But he is among those who are still eligible, and he's in the portal and drawing interest from schools such as Virginia Tech and UCLA, where his former coach Bob Chesney is.
Yeah, you make some interesting points there, David, and you bring up the name Seth Trimble, which makes me and Ed think back. We were fortunate enough to call on TV this past year for WGNT and Prep Spin, the Portsmouth Invitational basketball tournament at Churchland, and Trimble is one of many now players that played in the PIT are going back to college basketball, which is so wild. And oh, by the way, that car you mentioned that was going 67 and got pinched, that was Ed's black Charger. If you remember. Yeah, that was his black Charger.
That was a few years ago when I was a little rambunctious in my younger days. Yeah. But David, the way I look at all this mess, the NCAA, I have bombed the NCAA many a times too, but it's hard for them to really take hold when the courts step in once they're asked to step in, and the courts are looking strictly at fairness as in terms of, I always thought the NCAA, you have to be part of the NCAA, here's the rules you follow. Therefore, the courts should say, hey, NCAA is a special club, here's the rules to be in it, you got to abide by it. But what the courts are doing, it seems like, is they'll take the individual case and they'll say, well, they're going to apply it across the board. And once they find, well, wait a minute, here's one that you allowed in, and this is the same one, so now you're going to have to allow them in. And then here another lawyer says, wait a minute, I got a third one then, here we go. And I think that's kind of where the issue is. The courts are not trying to screw the NCAA. The courts are looking at legalness. They're going by what is a person's rights or their of being legal, and they're going by that. And I often think you can almost take every NCAA rule individually and bomb it by saying, no, you can't do that because here we have this. So then I say, how's the NCAA going to be that powerful entity that it needs to be? Because we've had great talk of SEC, Big Ten saying goodbye. We'll go run here's our own rules. Am I right in looking at that? Like the NCAA really can't put their teeth in anything?
That's why everything that you just outlined is leading to a future that I believe and more administrators are coming around on. A future where, at least with major college football and major college basketball, that there is some form of collective bargaining between athletes and either conferences or schools. The athletes have to have some kind of say. And if you have a CBA, if you have that agreement between labor and basically employer, then you are immune to these types of daily legal machinations.
Oh, that's some good stuff. A few more minutes here with David Teel before we let him run here of the Daily Press, Virginian Pilot, 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We got one more question for you on the comment line here, chat line as well, David. But I also want to bring up to you, you just did a story recently in the paper about Navy's football program. We've had on college football experts like Phil Steele and Paul Stone on the show earlier this summer, and they're relatively high on them as a team that can win the American Conference. You right in line with them on Navy?
Yeah, I don't know that the American is going to be quite as deep, Matt, as it was last year. A lot of coaches left the American for Power 4 jobs. 3 of them went to the SEC, and then a fourth went to Oklahoma State in the Big 12. But Navy, despite losing the likes of Blake Horvath and Eli Heidenreich and Landon Robinson, the latter two who were both NFL draft choices, they return a bunch of folks. They have 4 of their 5 O-line starters back. Braxton Woodson, is the heir apparent to Horvath at quarterback. He's a senior. He's a co-captain. He's had a lot of experience on the field. They're very high on him. Drew Cronick, and that he's the offensive coordinator for Brian Newberry, runs what he calls the Millennial Wing T. It's very creative, a lot of fun to watch. I went up there last season to Annapolis and saw their conquest of Air Force. It'd be cool if a service academy team, any of the 3, made the college football playoff. But if one was to contend this season, I think clearly it would be the midshipmen.
Yeah, very cool if that happens, Navy or Army there. We got one from Melinda out there, wants to know, Mr. Teel, like to know your thoughts on the SEC this year. They've been shut out of winning championships, David. It's been the Big Ten lately getting it done. We'll see if an ACC team can make its way there. Now all 3 of us had Indiana last year. The whole thing. But Ed's rocking with his Fighting Irish Notre Dame, as we all know. I'm picking the Ducks of Oregon to win the whole thing. I don't know if you have a pick there, if you have an SEC, Big Ten team, someone else outside those conferences. Give us your thought, SEC and in general there.
The SEC was spoiled. Let's face it.
Yes,
they had such a ridiculous run that it seemed only Clemson could interrupt there for 15, 18 years. And now with Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana, the last 3 seasons out of the Big Ten, I think you look at the usual suspects in the SEC with Georgia and Texas, and they both return starting quarterbacks in Gunnar Stockton and Arch Manning. Texas really had a successful portal season. Week 2, Ohio State comes to Austin. Man, we're going to find out a lot about both teams, but especially the Horns on that particular day. And then, what about Pete Golding? And, he took Ole Miss to 2 playoff victories after Lane Kiffin's unceremonious departure to LSU. We've been talking about court cases. Trinidad Chambliss happened to win his. So the Rebels have their dynamic quarterback returning. Might Ole Miss make some noise and win the SEC for the first time in perhaps any of our lifetimes.
That would be wild if that does happen. So he's always kind enough to give us some time here on the program. David Teel, the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk. Read his work in the Virginian Pilot, dailypress.com. Go get a copy of the paper. And by the way, before we let you go, really touching story you did on Taj Boyd of Clemson fame. I think I texted you that. Phoebus alum who quarterbacked that legendary 2008 Phantoms team to a state championship. His father passed away in 2020. He got away from football but was drawn back in by Dabo Swinney, now the quarterback's coach the Tigers. So I encourage people to check that out and all the work you do. Always fun, my friend. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And Matt, yeah, Taj is just top shelf. Really enjoyed reconnecting with him down at Clemson back in July. And that story will be on the front page of the Pilot and Daily Press tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we'll get a copy. You can see that and read. I think Larry Obama's got his top 50 football prospects.
He does.
So all kinds of great content people can check out for your Sunday reading before we get going. The last Saturday here without college football. It's here. DT, so kind of join us. Always good to talk with you, my friend. Be well.
You guys too.
Hey, thanks, David, and I'm glad you're well rested from the Badlands because it's going to be a heck of a season for you.
It is that, Coach. You be well too.
Thank you. Now,
David Teel, the Hall of Famer, with us here on 757 Sports Talk. Coming up next, Mark Williams, the Phoenix Suns center who starred in the 757 at Norfolk Academy. You'll hear a chat about his camp, which is going on right now. Again, full disclosure, we taped this interview. And life in the National Basketball Association. 757 Sports Talk. It's always streaming right here on Cova Sports TV. We got either, neither, or both at the end, too. And they're watching where, Edward? Where are they watching it?
hey, man, it's the best place to be in a Saturday morning or anytime. Cova Sports TV. Like us, share us, but please subscribe.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis. But if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach, Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome back to 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe with the Coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield, and Ed, we have a special guest with us, and he hails right from the 757 area code. He's getting ready for year 2 of his basketball camp at Norfolk Academy, coming up on August 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., ages 6 through 16. You can sign up by just clicking his Instagram bio link. And we're talking about the one and only Mark Williams, who started at Norfolk Academy, known throughout the 757, went from Norfolk Academy to IMG Duke, played in AAU with Will Williams and Team Loaded, now with the NBA's Phoenix Suns. Mark, thanks for coming on the program, and congrats on the new deal you just inked. I see 3 years in the neighborhood of $38 million in early July, so you got to be a happy man.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, and thanks for having me on.
Well, it's our pleasure, and I tell you what, it's amazing watching all that you have done in your basketball odyssey, if you will. And I want to begin with you about this camp. I mean, tell me about you just finished up your 4th year in the league, and this is the 2nd year you're having the camp. What's made you want to do this each year, coming back to your hometown and have it?
I think just giving kids the opportunity, um, to partake in a camp. I was once, a little kid that's had big dreams of playing at the professional level. So I think just, giving back and giving, those kids the opportunity to do that, it's felt like something I should do.
Yeah, it's hard to remember that when you once were a little kid because you are 7'1", of course. But anything you specifically hope the kids take away from this experience? Because I'm sure you have some memories. We'll go down memory lane with you here and rekindle some of the great moments from your upbringing. What do you hope the kids take away from coming to your camp?
I think really just having fun. Um, some not all those kids will end up, playing basketball when they get older. So I think honestly, just having fun, being a great teammate, and just enjoying being in a big group like that. Just having fun with each other, enjoying the day, making new friends, and just making the most of the opportunity, I think is the biggest thing.
Now, I'm curious about you. You have this great career in high school, McDonald's All-American. You go to Duke, you play for the legendary Coach K, help them get to a Final Four, and then you get drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. And even before you get to the Phoenix Suns, I think every pro athlete has that welcome to in your case, the NBA moment. For you, what was that, if you could take us through, where someone did something or a move and made you go, all right, this is different?
Uh, Probably my rookie year. It wasn't like a dunk or anything. We were playing Portland, and Nurk, shout out Nurk. He was my teammate in Charlotte at one point. But when we were in Portland, they just kept running the same play over and over and over, and I kept fouling over and over and over because he's like a big dude. Like they kept running this little cross screen until he got the ball. He's backing down, backing down, backing down. And he's a big guy. So I'm just trying to hold my own. They kept calling fouls. I didn't think I'm fouling. And they kept running it to the ground until it stopped working. I picked up like 3 fouls super quick. I think that's probably the one for me. Just like NBA, like physicality, size. I'd say that's probably one for me.
All right, so as a quick follow-up before I let Coach Young jump in here with you, Mark. Did you get him back? A, and B, have you had a moment where you gave a young buck a rook? I know there's a lot of hazing goes on and said, all right, I'm gonna introduce you to the NBA, what this is like.
I'm sure. The rookies are probably thinking about it more than I am. I can't say I remember a particular moment, but for them it might register a little bit more. Yeah, I would say I'm just trying to just play my game.
Play his game, get dunks, blocks, and help his team get victories. Mark Williams of the NBA's Phoenix Suns, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Year 2 of his basketball camp at Norfolk Academy is coming up on August the 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Ages 6 through 16 as Mark just played a personal high 60 games and started a career best 55 games for the Suns, averaging nearly 12 points and 8 rebounds per game. It's Cova Sports TV, Ed.
Hey, Mark, thanks again for coming on. I know you guys in the NBA, time is very limited, and of course you got camp coming up and that, so appreciate it. Also, shout out to your agent. Is it Nyla?
Nah, yeah.
Nye, for a great job in getting us together. And by the way, I'm going to say this on the side. You overkicked your coverage and getting her as an agent, because most people get them stuffy old dudes who smoke cigars with the tight jacket, and you picked yourself up a, let me say professionally, very pretty young lady who knows how to work, get you money. So good job on that part. You're learning well. Hey, camp. Let's go back when Mark Williams went to camp. As a longtime high school coach, I always fight this battle of make it fun, but they got to learn basketball. They're paying money, and if you just want to have fun, go to watermelon camp and run around and water park or whatever.
For sure.
How were you when you first went to camp as a player? What were you looking at? And you might have went when you were 5 years old. And then the second part of the question is, how do you balance, let them have fun, make sure they're learning stuff?
Yeah. Back when I was younger, I think the biggest thing I always wanted to do, like the most like extreme stuff. Like I want to do all the fancy moves, shoot, threes from super far away. But really it was just about learning fundamentals, because fundamentals are gonna be what get you far, and fundamentals are gonna be like your bread and butter at the end of the day. So I think at the same time though, like it is a camp, like it's a day camp. Like you don't want it to be like boring and monotonous. So I think it's important you find a balance of like learning, you know, basic fundamental things that'll take you, super far. But at the same time, like it is a camp. Like you want to have fun. You want the kids to enjoy themselves. So I think just finding a good in between there is super important.
Now we got to ask him too, Ed. Growing up, you weren't the best basketball player in your family until what age, Mark? I say that because, as much of our audience may know, your older sister Elizabeth started Princess Anne High School, then Duke, and has enjoyed a terrific WNBA career. Now a member of the Chicago Sky. So tell me what role she's played in your development on and off the court.
Yeah, she's been great. Just the ultimate resource, the ultimate shoulder to lean on. Somebody I can ask any question about anything. She's been great. Obviously, she's a vet now in Chicago, having a good year. But it's great. It's always awesome to have somebody like that in my circle that I can reach out to.
Mark, I'm so old. I had her in radio back in the days when she was in high school. There it is. That's how old I am with this. But I do want to know, so what age did you say I got her one-on-one? She can't handle me. Was it like 12, 13?
What age?
Well, first of all, can he handle her right now?
Nah,
She's still playing.
she wouldn't play me now. I'd say probably like middle school.
Okay.
Probably like middle school. Yeah, middle school, high school.
Good deal. Good deal. As we go through some of those memories and so on and so forth for you, and in your days, I'm also fascinated too, and I know Coach will get a kick out of this, that I read somewhere that you bring detailed index cards of goals you have set to team meetings. Is that true? And what goals do you have set for this year?
Yeah, I usually handwrite some goals, individual and team, and I usually talk to Coach about them before the season starts. I haven't done it this year yet, but I will probably after Labor Day, I think. But yeah, it's something I started to do, and I've just kept doing it. Kind of gives me something to focus on. Gives myself, it's just something to, try to achieve. Just some added inner competitiveness, I guess. Something I've just done, and I've just stuck to it. I started doing it in Charlotte, and then I kept going with it.
That's so awesome. And Ed, I know you as a former college coach, a longtime high school coach, you had to dig that because we've interviewed dozens of pros and we don't hear sometimes that thoughtfulness that shows. And I think it's also it's a big credit to, and Mark, you can chime in on this after Ed does with you. Your parents have done just an awesome job with both you and Elizabeth and the upbringing and what they've done for you to where you both are today. Ed?
Yeah, Mark, to hear that a pro writing down things on a card and then bringing them, it's unheard of. I can't even get my high school kids to write, let alone put down what they should be having. Where did you come up with, who influenced you to do that? Was that something straight on your own? Because I know you played with some really, really, really great coaches, high school, college, pro. Was it a coach? Was it just something you had picked up? Another player?
I don't even remember. I think it's something I just kind of picked up on. I can't pinpoint exactly when I started or what made me start doing that, but yeah, I mean, nowadays I'm not writing too much, so I think it's something that helps, when you write something down.
Mark, along those same lines, we hear a lot of times pros are different to coach. some people say they're not coached, they're managed by coaches. You don't practice as much as you did in high school and college.
For sure.
And it's more walkthroughs. It's more, you need rest. We hear this thing about load management like crazy, which drives some of us nuts, especially me as a coach. What is, from a pro, from you, how is that dynamic? Because you went through high school, you went through college, you went through AAU practices. Now you're pro, 4 years. What's the dynamic for players? And what is players' reaction to coaches? I have people tell me they don't think NBA people really listen to their coach, which I don't believe. But what is the dynamic?
I mean, it's different. Obviously, high school and college, like you're, you don't know enough yet. You know, the coaches are the ones that have seen everything and been through it. I think as a pro, like you've gotten to that point, like you've established yourself. Obviously, coaches are very knowledgeable, but at the same time, like we are the ones playing 82 games. You can't just drive us into the ground. Practicing all the time. Like, at the end of the day, the most important piece is, winning basketball games night in and night out, and getting a lot of those mental reps is a bigger focus as the year goes on. Like the summertime is really when you can, really work on your game, get better, really work on your strength and conditioning. But if you have a back-to-back and you're traveling, like there's not really time to like have a 2-hour practice where you're, doing all those things. So I think it's really important. Like, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying it's like important to like make sure you're establishing your principles and stuff, like training camp and September, like all before the season. That's when you really lay your groundwork. But as the year goes, it's all about like maintaining and keeping your body in best shape as possible.
That's what I was going to get to. As a starting center, what's been the biggest focus for you, Mark, from a body perspective and conditioning standpoint when dealing with the rigors of what is a long 82-game NBA schedule, then playoffs if you make it to the postseason? What do you do? And has it changed at all from you when you got to the league to now?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. College, you're playing, once or twice a week, and that's like your biggest focus. Like you know what I'm saying? You lose a game, like house is on fire. 82 games, like nobody's gone 82-0. But there's gonna be nights that are better than others, and you're gonna just try every night to play harder than the other team and give yourself a chance to win. I think it's just you just gotta prepare your body the best you can. Obviously, I've dealt with my fair share of injuries, especially my first couple years in the league. I think it's just super important to try and take care of your body the best you can, because at the end of the day, it is a long season, 82 games, back-to-backs, travel. You just got to put yourself in the best position to be able to handle that.
We're chatting with Mark Williams, former standout at Norfolk Academy, where he's coming back for his basketball camp, year 2 of that, on August 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There he is, throwing it down, ages 6 to 16. Go sign up. Visit his Instagram link in the bio and find it online. Norfolk Academy's website has it too. It's 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. A few more minutes here with Mark, who is a former Virginia Preps Classic MVP. There he is, getting the trophy many years back when they beat Grafton 49-33. The babyface Mark Williams then. But Mark, as a quick follow-up to that, I mean, we think of big men just dunking and blocking shots all the time. Now bigs have to cover out to the perimeter, a three-point shot, and there's more to it than just dunking and blocking. Tell us how you use your speed in transition to catch defenders off guard, especially in pick and rolls and ball screen action, because you've been one of the best in the league at that.
Yeah, just going into screens with pace, off of missed shots, just trying to outrun your defender, get some easy buckets. I think just trying to be in really good shape is important to try and get some easy basket. I think for me especially, when you're playing, those guys that are, super like bulky, strong, you got to try and get some quick ones, because you're going to be in their rough house and try and get some rebounds, doing some things. So just trying to get some easy buckets is always going to make your life a little bit easier.
Great. Ed?
Well, I look at Mark in that uniform. There's no way in heck he fits that uniform now. I got to believe he's filled out to the point here. Do you have any of your old Bulldog uniform? Did coach let you keep one, or was it number retired?
Nah, you gotta talk to Acker about that. He's got them. He's got them somewhere.
We'll make sure you get your uniform. I mean, you're in the pros now. What's he holding that uniform for? Ain't nobody else going to be wearing it after you. That's for sure.
They pass it down. Pass it down.
Now, Mark, the other thing, the NBA, you've got the veterans you follow. You're going into your fourth year. You're kind of starting to go towards that for leadership situation. Speak on how leadership works among players in the NBA and your ability to lead the younger guys behind you, those rookies, first year, second year guys. I know it's not something you probably care about a whole lot or think about when you were younger, but again, as we become older and over, how do you deal with that?
I think it's just the experience in itself. Your first and second year, you don't really know anything. You're just going based off of what you see, what you hear from other guys. But now I'm getting to the point like I'm the one in it now. I'm the one that can answer some questions. But at the same time, I'm still learning. I'm not the oldest guy on the team. Book, Dylan, those guys have been in the league for a long time. Obviously, Book's been in Phoenix the whole time, but Dylan's been, Memphis, Houston, and then here. I think just learning from them. They've played really high level basketball, deep playoff runs, all that sort of stuff. So just learning from them and trying to, continue to learn every single day.
You mentioned some of your other teammates, Dylan Brooks. What's up with Dylan Brooks? A lot of people say he's a modern Dennis Rodman. He gets under so many people's skin. What's it like? And I'm going to say this, maybe I should put words in your mouth. I kind of think you feel it's good to have him with your teammate because you guys will probably have some hellacious battles you went against his. Or how is he in practice?
Yeah, Dylan's great. He's, heart and soul guy, culture guy. Obviously a teammate that's great when he's on your team. You hate playing against him. He's bringing intensity every single day in practice, every single game. He's playing hard, doing everything, he can to try and lead us to wins. But no, off the court, he's great. He's just chill, easy to be around. But no, on the court, like he turns it on. He's in a different mode, seeing red, doing all that for sure.
All right, I got to get down to business though, Ed. What's this I hear, Mark, about the jersey number change from 15 to 25? Spill the beans. I hope you got some type of proper compensation for this. And for those who know what I'm talking about, Mark gave up his former number to teammate Devin Booker, who requested number 15 to honor his father. Devin previously wore number 1. So give us the skinny on that.
Yeah. He told me before it went public. So I switched to 25. I never wore 25 before, but felt like a good change to make. A lot of other numbers I'd worn in the past are either retired or are worn already. But yeah, it's good. He told me we're good.
All right. See, I would have asked if this would happen with me and Ed, I'd say you got to give me a steak or a car or something. I got to get something out of this.
Yeah. We're good. We've handled the other piece of it.
Okay, perfect.
There was another little thing that happened to you other than the jersey switch, and you were traded to the Lakers. And then it was rescinded, which is rare. Now, me personally, I didn't want to see you leave Charlotte. I like going to Charlotte games. I go to a couple each year. They were putting together a good young team. I thought they would build around you. And then I hear they're trading. I said, what the hell? They traded a good young. What are they doing? Then I heard it got rescinded. I was like, great. And then I hear you get traded to Phoenix. But how was your mindset going through all that bouncing around stuff?
Yeah, it was crazy. One of the more crazy experiences probably in my life. I flew out to LA, and then after that I flew back to Charlotte. And then our first game out of the All-Star break was against LA. We beat them, which felt good, but it was definitely a whirlwind of emotions because you go from like they traded me to now like the team that traded for me doesn't want me anymore. And then you go back to that team that traded you in the first place. So then you're all over the place in your mind. Um, and then obviously at the end of the year getting traded to Phoenix, it was a blessing. It was a great opportunity I, try to take advantage of. And I'm obviously happy to be here. It's great in Phoenix. It's been, nothing but love from the top of the organization to my teammates here. It's been awesome.
Great place, the Suns building. And I'm also wondering too, Mark, have you noticed any real differences playing in the Western Conference? I mean, you play all teams in the league, but compared to the East, anything noticeable for you?
Yeah, I mean it's high level in the West. When you're in the East, you're only playing the OKC, San Antonio, Denver's twice a year. Once at home, once away. Whereas in the West, that's you play them 4 times. We played OKC 5 times because we played them in the NBA Cup, and then we played them in the playoffs. So really 9. So I think just who you're going up against. Obviously, like there's talent all over the league. I think now, with some trade and stuff, the East is going to be pretty good as well. But the West is always loaded. I think just your level of competition night in and night out.
No question. A couple minutes here with Mark Williams. He from Norfolk Academy fame, now with the NBA's Phoenix Suns, inked a 3-year deal with the Suns to stay on there. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And again, the camp coming up for Mark Williams on the 22nd of August. That's this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Going over there, and you can sign up ages 6 to 16, $75 fee. And I know you got a bunch of memories and some old friends you'll see from your 757 days. You got any fondest memories from your playing days in the 757 and beat with AAU, with your days with Boo or Loaded or anything of that nature with Norfolk Academy that comes to mind as you think back to those years they're getting longer away from where you are now, aren't they?
No, it's crazy. I'd say probably with Boo Williams, Peach Jam. Playing in Peach Jam was an experience for sure. You're going up against the best of the best. You got a bunch of scouts, coaches, at the time, current NBA players in the building watching you play. And, I like those kinds of environments. A packed high school gym is always fun. Norfolk Academy, probably winning TCIS. That was pretty cool. Loaded, I would say the circuit, playing in the circuit was always fun. Yeah, I mean, I could go down the line. At IMG playing, you're playing a national schedule in high school. Yeah, I'd say all of it really. It was all a blast.
Really cool stuff. And Ed, we always love asking the guys that played for Boo. We did it when we did our radio show on ESPN with Southern Jam Fest, Hoop Group, and the EYBL with Nike. Who could do the best Boo Williams imitation? Mark won't do it now because he's still playing as one of Fender. Maybe when he retires. But we always love asking that, just who could do the great Boo imitations, because everybody likes to do the Boo. Boo is one of the kind.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's
awesome.
awesome.
Legend, living legend for sure.
Do you remember, Mark? You remember any of your AU teammates who did the best Boo imitation?
Put him on blast.
I'm not putting anybody on blast, but we got some guys. We have some guys.
We've had people before, some of your teammates, but nobody said Mark Williams. So I will say they just put you on blast.
Yeah, there we go.
And Mark, the other thing is, I'm wondering in the NBA with you guys, teammates and opponents, do you all kind of rib each other about like when you played against each other in the AAU, or you represent Virginia, the 757, which has some good flavor in the NBA and other pro sports? Do you guys really get on each other about all that, harping back to those high school AAU days and all that? I know you did in college.
Every now and then, I was teammate, like Jalen Green, obviously my teammate now. We played against him in the Final Four PGM. So we've talked about that a little bit. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like if I see somebody that I've played against, like I might bring it up. It's cool. Like some you say in passing, really.
Well, he's always repping the 757 and Boo Williams, that's for sure.
Mark, if I can ask you, who maybe a guy or two or three that really gives you a hard time? It's hard to cover. I mean, he's good. He does a lot of different things. Not that he's showing you up, but I just mean, you go against somebody who's really tough to cover. Who would be a couple guys you bring to mind quick?
In the league?
Yes, in the league.
I mean, Jokic is always like an easy answer.
That was what I was thinking of.
Yeah, like he's just because he's like the engine. He's gonna touch the ball every possession. You might think you're doing a good job, but he might have like a bunch of assists. I think guys like that, your goal is to really just hold them under their average and make them turn the ball over, because they're gonna score. It's not like they're gonna go scoreless. Like they're gonna get the ball. They're going to be able to create. So really just trying to make their life difficult. But I would say like him. That's probably what I would say.
Yeah, he's a hard dude to deal with, that's for sure. Well, hey, Mark, we thank you so much for the time here on the program. We know we've kept you longer than we should. But, hey, great job with everything you're doing in the community. Go on out there, support them. Norfolk Academy, the second annual basketball camp coming up August 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And, again, congrats on the great deal with the Suns. 3 years you're going to be back with them as you guys chased some more wins and another playoff run in the Western Conference. So always a pleasure talking with you. We're all Mark Williams fans here in the 757. I wish you all the best down the road.
Yep, no doubt. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Mark, thanks again, man. Congratulations and good luck on a good season. I hope to see you down when you play Charlotte. Hope to be there to check you all out.
No doubt. Appreciate you guys.
That's the one and only Mark Williams. He from Norfolk Academy, went to IMG Academy, played with Boo Williams and Team Loaded in AAU, and now a 3-year deal, $38 million with the Suns, coming off a personal high in games played and games started, almost 12 points and 8 rebounds per game. Our guest here on 757 Sports Talk. More to come. Don't go anywhere. You're watching where, Ed?
Cova Sports TV, where we bring you pros like Mark Williams.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
All right, here with second-year Great Bridge head football coach Joey Wood as his team wraps up its preseason scrimmages. Cox last week, Kempsville tonight, and they're getting ready for game number 1, which I believe is against Northview College.
Yes,
Coach, what have you seen so far? 2 scrimmages in the books as you get ready for the first game of your second season at the helm.
Yeah, biggest thing is just the guys buying into the process. You know, we've been at it since January, getting a full off season, like starting in January, being in the weight room and everything. It's helped us out a lot, and just getting the guys to focus, not focusing on the time, not focusing on the score, one play at a time, and they've really bought into that.
I know you and I have talked about it last year. The end of the season, you were starting to put up some impressive numbers, whether it be victories or defeats. Do you feel like the mood, you started to see some of the culture change kind of begin that process at the end of year 1 as you went into the offseason?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing as a coaching staff, we had to take a step back. You know, it's not about the plays. It's about making sure the guys are confident in what they do. So putting up points helps a lot, but just the guys buying into everything that we're doing, taking one play at a time, making sure that they get that play down, and then just doing that for 48 minutes. That's been the biggest thing for us.
Got a pretty dynamic two-way playmaker, wide receiver, defensive back Alonzo Duncan-Tell tonight. Had a couple touchdown catches, some yards after the catch, interception, nearly a second pick. He's committed to Hampton University. What do you like most about him in his game?
Football-wise, he can do everything. I love how he comes down at safety. I love how he gets after it at the receiver position. The biggest thing for him, though, he's been a leader. Like, the young guys have gravitated towards him, and now that he's paying it forward. You know, he's getting them ready and teaching them, and in doing so, it's only going to make him better. But, you know, he can do everything for us. So I'm excited for his year this year.
The way you threw the ball around at the end of last year was really opening up some eyes, good receivers, some passing game. But you also have a couple of backs tonight that showed them in the scrimmage, and particularly even your backup running back running through contact. Do you feel like you've also got that balance with your offense too?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we're working on. We got to get balance within it. I mean, at the end of the day, we got to take what the defense gives us, but we want to be able to establish the line of scrimmage, even in the pass pro. Like, we want to be able to get after it. Our running backs do a great job of bringing the physicality. Like, they're going to be the ones that help us set the tone. The O-line's going to start it, but they're also going to be the hammer that we need.
Sure. As you know, being we got Great Bridge had some players over the years, the Casey Turners, the Dre Masons, you got one Duncan-Tell, but you have some other players besides him stepping up. I hear your guys on the sideline chanting for Liam. I think it's Casio in defense. Tell me about him and some others that we should watch out for in addition to Duncan-Tell this year.
Yeah, like our linebacker core is one of our strengths. Liam Casio, CJ Jackson, and also should just pass that. And then Rylan Stewart. So those guys are leading us in the right way. They're our enforcers. They're our guys that get us going. So they've done a really good job. O-line wise, I'm really excited for Connor Lang. Max Stoller, he's been a 3-year starter for us. And then, you know, the younger guys that are blossoming. I mean, Chase Blatchford, I mean, he's getting looks already. He's my guy at tight end. And then also Jaden Culler, another young guy that is really stepping up. Gavin Merritt, D lineman, rising senior. So I'm just excited for this group that is fully bought into what we're doing.
Last two for you. Tell me about going into the game 1 with Northview. What do you want to see from your team in terms of the things you'll tweak? Because even tonight you get 5 touchdowns in the first half, but you're still coaching your guys through offense, even special teams. Yeah. Your second stepping up, other guys making their plays and effort plays, if you will.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, I mean, they got a great coach over there, and they're building a program as well. You know, so the biggest thing we got to do is just make sure we establish the line of scrimmage, come out and just play our game. Like that's been the biggest thing. Is I feel like too much we've been trying to be other people, and we just got to be Great Bridge, and that's what we're turning the program into. So it is an opponent we got, but it's always going to be about what we're doing, and that's what I was just telling the guys. Like, the scores are great, but that's not what we're focused on. We got to focus on each play until that is at 0-0, and then we can move forward. But I'm excited about it. He's doing a great job with the program, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well put. And lastly, most importantly, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give you a chance to shout out the little one, the wife, the kids. Tell me about them. They were wanting to say, "Daddy, Daddy, give me a hug." They matter. All that.
I know. Yeah.
Give me a shout out here so they can later.
Yeah. Brody and Bryson, they're my boys.
Okay.
My wife. Shout out to my wife for giving me this opportunity, because when you got a 4- and a 2-year-old at home, it makes it tough. Yep. It makes it tough.
Happy wife, happy life. All the best to you and the Wildcats. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you heard from Joey Wood. From Joey Wood there, the head football coach of the Great Bridge Wildcats. It is 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. It's the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. Pretty cool to hear the kid in the middle of the interview. Daddy, that was neat. We got the schedule scrolling across the ticker there, Ed, for Great Bridge. They were just 1-9 last year, but, and I emphasize but, they put up over 40 points per game their last 4 or 5 games of the season. Their offense got clicking. Remember, they had that game where they scored like 36, 38 points on Oscar Smith in defeat. So they found something late in the year. I think they'll be a lot better than 1-9. I don't want to spoil my picks for the Southeastern District that we'll have on the preview show coming up. But as that schedule scrolls across the ticker, I'm going to ask you which game will be the biggest determining game for their season, most pivotal. Knowing you like you do, you're going to say it's the first game. It's Norview. It's the first game. So that's the tone. But I have another game on that schedule that I would pick. They have tricky ones after the bye week with Indian River and Kings Fork. So regardless, they might be looking at a sub-500 mark by the end of September. But I think this is a team that can win 6 or 7 games. Is not out of the realm of possibility, which has not been happening lately for Great Bridge. Your take on what he said there. And Duncan Tell, by the way, the kid going to Hampton, I say for now because I could see him trying to get flipped by a bigger school. He's really good, one of the better receivers around. And he made our All Cova Sports TV preseason Hatfield team that we announced recently. Go ahead.
Looking at their schedule, and I like Coach Wood's approach. And yes, they got some eyeballs on them towards the end of the last year. That's the SCD. Norview's not an easy opener. The game, I would say I'm looking at Hickory game.
Oh, okay.
That's the game I'm looking at. That's going to be, to me, I hate to say this, but I guess it's media talk. That's a big win. That's a must-win game. It's a rival. Norview's going to be tough. Indian River and Kings Fork. And again, no discouragement towards Great Bridge. Keep doing what you're doing. But until you beat some of those powers, it's hard to put you up there with 7 to 8 wins. You say you see 6, maybe 7. I don't.
I say it's possible. I didn't say they're going to get 6 or 7 wins. I definitely think it'll be better than 1-9. Now, you might have them closer to 5-5, 4-6, but in reality, that could get them one of those last couple of playoff spots in Region 5A, which is obviously dominated by the beach schools with a couple of Chesapeake teams in there like Indian River and Deep Creek. But I think those Deep Creek, Western Branch, Hickory, and the game I'm circling is Nansemond River beginning of October. I think those now are more swing type of games that can go either way for them. I think that October 2nd game is the biggie because I'm thinking in my brain, even if they get to, let's say, 2-2, they get Norview Hickory, they lose the other 2, that Nansemond game, as you know, in the middle of a season, difference between being 3-2 and 2-3 can sometimes be as immense as 1-0, 0-1. Maybe I think even more, substantial.
A team like Great Bridge, I say here, okay, you got to beat some of those teams. The key thing for Great Bridge is to play off of those last few games from last year. Be in most of those games. See, that's the next step they have to take, is to be in those games where you might have a good chance to win a game in the fourth quarter against a powerhouse team. And then the next step after that, and it could be in the same year, beat somebody, and most people will say, I can't believe they beat them. Because that usually lifts your team from that point on where the kids can say, dang, yeah, we are good. Yeah, we can do this. Because it's until you get that big, decisive win, it's hard to say, oh, we're going to have a great year. We're going to win 8, 9 games when they haven't been in that level. I think that's where they're at now. And again, I'm not trying to discourage the people, Great Bridge players, team, and all that.
Sure.
But along the line, that's how it is. You now in those games where before a game might have been over at halftime. Now you're in the game, you got a chance to win it. And then you pull off a win against somebody you shouldn't, and it propels those kids. And then all of a sudden you beat somebody else. Now you're back up there where you're talking deep playoffs. But you're right. I think they can get in that playoff, get that experience. And then can we sneak a win in the playoff at least, or at least, again, give that team we play, although they can handle it. And if we lose, it's by a couple points.
Yeah, our man Miserat Mike 2160 says Indian River is in the building. Indian River opens up Thursday night against the Granby Comets at Powhatan Field. I should ask the people out there, which game y'all want me to go to? Indian River, Granby or Western Branch Phoebus at Darling?
Well, I just want to say Indian River. What building are they in? Are they in a building? Are they practicing inside? They can't practice outside? I'm confused.
I don't know. But I've taken some flack for having them as high in our Class 5 top 10 as I do, which is presently 5th on Virginia Preps, ahead of teams 6 through 10, Green Run, Patrick Henry, Roanoke, Bethel, Hermitage, and Riverbend. By the way, have you heard, Ed? Have you heard?
Bird is the word?
That's right. As our buddy Peter Griffin says.
Well, between the hairdo that you come back on air with and that, our show has gone kaput today.
That's your buddy Peter Griffin. We know
Thank
Stewie's looking for you.
Thank God we had somebody like Mark Williams on. We got
and David Teel.
Son's Mark Williams. Great. He did a great job on the interview. We were able to get him in here for an anticipation of his camp, but also talk about his background, his day. And those pictures were priceless.
Yes.
To see him back in Virginia Preps days and all that, and he don't look like that anymore.
And by the way, Woody, want to know how tall he is? He's 7'1". So, but we mentioned Bird is the word. We're not done yet, folks. We've got a couple more coaching interviews, including the head coach of the Skyhawks of LC. Bird, that's the word. Let's now hear from Gerard Johnson on 757 Sports Talk. It's Cova Sports TV. I'm going to go jump back in the pool while we hear Gerard Johnson.
All right, y'all boys, right back. All right, here with first-year LC Bird head football coach Gerard Johnson. His team concluding a preseason scrimmage against the reigning 3-time Class 5 state champion Maury Commodores. Coach, 2 scrimmages in the books, Prince George and Maury. We know Maury's a different animal. What do you hope your guys took from this that you can build off from a positive standpoint as you go into Game 1 coming up?
Obviously, much respect to Maury and what they've done. I've been saying it since I got here. You know what I'm saying? In order for us to get to that top again, get back to what Bird used to be at, we got to go through teams like that. And I'd rather us prepare and figure out who we are right now than to wait to the playoffs and, figure out what our team got. So I think it was good for us. We finished, for one, we came out with no injury. So that was big, but it tell us where we at as a program. Like I said, Moore is a good football team, and Prince George was a good football team. So we got 2 good quality scrimmages before we go into a tough season. So, we'll clean up whatever we need to clean up and get ready for Midlow next week.
And unlike your other coaching stops you were at, like you turn around Caroline quickly, you've been at college level, this isn't like a rebuilding effort at LC Bird. They've been pretty good, region semifinals. Is it just a matter of getting an identity and a culture built, even do things a certain way off the field edition, on the field it will translate itself?
Yeah, it's about getting these guys to believe in, what they're doing and what we're doing as a program and what we're trying to get accomplished. Like I said, we've got a group of kids that they want to turn that corner, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the action has to take place, and us as coaches we got to continue to drill in what our standard wants to look like and with our identity. Like I said, we're not recreating the wheel. I keep saying that, but we also, we have to tweak some things, and it's going to take time to come, as we hoping that we look better the next week, and then the following week we continue to get better. But, like I said, I just wanted to see how much fight we had in us beforehand, and like I said, we've seen some good things between both scrimmages. So, I'm excited to see what we got going on to the season.
Let's touch on a couple of players that have been doing some good things for you. You have the number 1 ranked player in the state, and Chris Whitehead, who's committed to LSU. That guy wearing number 0 out there, he towers over defenders, and it looks like taking pictures on the sideline. No matter who's trying to block him, even the best team like Maury, you got to try to hold this guy because he is a game wrecker, isn't he, off the edge?
Right. No, Chris. And Chris is one of those ones that, like I said, we're gonna lean into to help get this thing going and flip this. I ain't gonna say flip this culture, but get this culture back to what it needs. That's a great guy to do it. He's a good kid, just like other players in the program. But, obviously, with the offers and stuff, it leads the forefront. But we got some other guys leading from the backs too as well. And, we'll get those guys going. And once we get these guys bought into what we're doing, I think this could be a special group.
Well, I imagine what drew you to LC Bird was that before, Oscar Smith and Highland Springs and Stonebridge and Maury had their run in Phoebus of championships in a row. Coach Bedwell led the Skyhawks to multiple, I think it was 3 in a row, state championships. Another guy that stood out for you, a guy from another sport, Jalen Tyler, basketball, football, caught a touchdown for a scrimmage. And I imagine you're going to count on him a great deal, aren't you?
Jalen Tyler is a high-level competitor. Where he lacks at in size and, maybe some athleticism, he's a true competitor. He works his butt off. He loves the game, and you can tell the way he plays. It's never a moment where you feel like he's half stepping on the field, and you can see it on the court translate. Like I said, he's a high level competitor, and those are the kind of guys we want in our program. Those are the kind of guys that we need to lead from the front so that the other guys come behind and, maybe they catch on and they start seeing how he prepares. Like we talk about preparing at elite level. He prepares at an elite level and it shows. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, once we get some more guys to buy into what these other guys are doing, the sky is beyond the limit of what we can do.
And lastly, thank you for the time. I know you're worried about Bidlow, which is game 1, as you should be. But it feels like in Region 6A this year, there's a lot up for grabs. I know Oscar Smith lost a lot. The big battle of Chester with Dale, Manchester. You guys, there's a lot of teams that contend there. What do you hope this team can do by November that will allow you to be one of those contenders come then?
Well, hopefully, I hope we win each game by game. But like I said, it's on Region 6. Obviously, Oscar Smith will still be good, and you got Western Branch and other good programs in that region that obviously all of us can compete at a high level. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure we take care of our part so that we can be in that conversation at the end of the season. Which, like I said, the goal is to do so. Midlow is week 1, so that's the first step. But first we got to clean up where we went wrong in these scrimmages, and then we'll see where the ball flow at the end of the season.
Well, great chatting with you. All the best, and thanks so much.
Thank you.
So that was Gerard Johnson, the first-year head coach of the LC Birds Skyhawks. Ed, we had the schedule scroll across the ticker. I'll put it back up here for them. They lost in the region semifinals last year to Oscar Smith. The scrimmage wasn't the prettiest for them against Maury, who you'll hear from Coach Dyrri, McCain of the reigning 3-time state champion Commodores here after the break. But the schedule, they start off with Midlothian coming up on Friday. It's a home game. Then they're at Thomas Dale, Class 6 Region A runner-up, always a perennial contender. They go to Monacan, host Powhatan, at Highland Springs September 25th, host Huguenot October 2nd, at Manchester October 9th. They're not careful with that type of schedule. I mean, you could be getting off to a rough start there. First-year coach, so you've been in different situations on the basketball, so kind of give us your comparison. You have a big-name player in Chris Whitehead who's going to LSU, the defensive end we talked about. You have his brother, the junior tackle, and Isaiah Whitehead. There's going to be expectations because it is LC Bird, where David Bedwell won 3 state titles. How do you navigate that type of schedule that is pretty tricky out of the chute? If you're not careful, you could be looking at a couple of those L's. To me, the feeling as a first-year coach is you got to get a win, that signature type of win, and sometimes this happens year 2, year 3. Again, you're not supposed to win. Maybe it's Dale, maybe it's Manchester. It's probably not going to be Highland Springs.
You're right. Number one, you're taking over as the head man now, so you don't want to come out the gate with a couple losses. It could cause confusion and doubt in the kids that, hey, this ain't working. We got to try something different. And that's not usually the case. It's just a fact to stay with what we got, get that signature win. Because with that schedule they're playing, one loss can quickly turn into a few losses because there's no real breathers on there where you can maybe play slightly subpar and still win. It's like teams in the Southeastern District. For the most part, you've got to come to play every single game or you're not winning. And that can, in high school, more so than college and pro, losing hurts you way more. The kids get demoralized. They get made fun of in school. They don't feel good about going to practice. All of a sudden, they got injuries. Oh, this hurts, that hurts, this hurts. It's tougher. And especially when it's a new coach on board, that's where sometimes they'll point and say, well, that's why we're losing. What he's doing is not working. So, and you're right, Bird has a tradition too. So that's another factor that, everybody expect. Like I said, until a power program starts losing, I'm picking them to win because of tradition.
Yeah, no doubt. I understand that. Our man Woody chiming in is Elizabeth. Yes, Woody, it was in the interview. You got to go back and watch it. Pay attention.
Woody, get out of the pool. Get the water out of your ear. See, that's the problem. You got too much pool in you. Yes.
Derek wants to know about, is there a demand for a showcase series? I don't know if there's a demand. We have Maury Verina, which, by the way, that's coming up in a couple weeks. It's 13 days away. Maury's got Mallard Creek up first. I guess you could say to an extent there's need. And by the way, I'm going to anger some people. It goes in cycles, folks. For anybody in the 804 to 757, and I'm going to put this, and we live in a 757, so you say, oh, you're biased to that, or people 804 live in there biased to that. It goes in cycles, folks. There's no they're better every year. Now, I will say, if you do your homework and your history, the 757's got more championships. Look at the 3 this past year of the classification. Say, well, that's because they have teams in division. Well, it's benefited Richmond too. But it goes in cycles. There's no this is better than that. You can make cases for it's deeper somewhere, and or they have better players. You can make all those arguments. But the bottom line is this stuff always goes in cycles. And yes, Elizabeth was extremely dominant, Woody, at Princess Anne. We'd love to talk with her. Chicago Sky of the WNBA. Before we do go to break, I did have this sent to me. He was dead last night at wherever he was with smoke going up and all kinds of music. I hope he's clean. We're not having no expletives with this guy dancing. Is he saying bad words? I hope he's not. We're not getting flagged for this later.
We were getting drunk at the Pitbull Little John concert last night.
What was he saying? He better not said no naughty words that are 4-letter.
There's no naughty words. There was some naughty words later, but not in that piece there.
Yeah, better not, Ben. When we get flagged later, you better tell Chuck and Nick and the powers that be, Cova Sports TV, not on air.
Chuck and Nick have no idea of that kind of music. They probably listen to opera for all I know.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you said that. We have 2 tickets to give away. I'm going to let you decide if we're going to do it today or next week. We might say it for next week. September 18th at the Virginia Symphony Orchestra, Symphony on the River at the Portsmouth Pavilion. 2 tickets to give away. Maybe we can do it for trivia. We can do it, guess a number. We can guess how old Ed Young is, or how young Ed Young is, or when's his birthday, or who's his secret crush. We can do what? We can come up with some type of idea. You mull it over to make sure it's clean, and we'll give away these 2 tickets to anybody that wants them. For the Virginia Symphony Orchestra, Symphony on the River. So you talked about,
and I'm making Woody ineligible.
Why is he ineligible? He can be eligible if he wants to go.
He won tickets for a Tides game that we had.
Oh, did he?
And
he won. Okay,
got the tickets.
Oh, he didn't get the tickets, Woody. Come on,
and then he tells me later, "Sorry, Coach, I just answered the question, but I didn't really want to go." Woody, don't answer trivia for prizes if you don't want the prize.
That would be almost as funny as. Which, by the way, if Derek's out there still watching and listening, get our man Keith, who was sending in reports from the Smithfield scrimmage. We got to get Keith on the screen. I'm telling you, I'm determined by heck or high water, as they say. I'm not gonna say the other word.
It'll be by heck, I'll tell you that right now.
We got to get Keith on the screen. He was at the Warwick Smithfield scrimmage, supposedly 40-yard touchdown pass for Warwick, who beat your Packers 6-0. We got to get Keith on the show. People have been clamoring for Keith. Woody says, okay. Ed made you ineligible, Woody. I'm sorry. Maybe I don't. Well, by the way, Woody's not going to go to the orchestra on Friday, September 18th. He's going to be on the football field watching a game like me. So it doesn't even matter. But he's, again, Friday, September 18th, rain or shine, Portsmouth Pavilion, 7:30. If you want them, remember to keep watching and you have a chance to win them on Cova Sports TV. There you go. We've got one more segment. No more pit bulls. Might have one more pool adventures, though, before we bid adieu on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk. And Keith has his demands. We got to hear what those are. His list of demands. He's got demands. Do you know that? He's got demands.
Somebody let Keith know he has no right for demands. He was our best.
Well, I want to hear what the demands are. Can I hear what they are first?
No. He was probably our number one fan when we were on radio. He was religious to us every week. And now that on the podcast, we haven't.
He's watching. He told you he's watching. We got to get him on the screen. Okay. We got to get him the proper technology. Derek's going to have to help facilitate this. He's probably the only one that can help facilitate this. But we got to get him on the screen at some point during the season. Got to figure it out. No, that's all.
We'll see. I'm anxious to see what his demands are.
All right, it is a high noon, but we got one more segment because we're going to hear from Dyrri McCain and then play either, neither, or both before we sign off on this particular episode. It is 757 Sports Talk, and it is being streamed where, Coach?
Hey, it's on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, subscribe.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
All right, here with Maury, head football coach Dyrri McCain of the reigning 3-time Class 5 State Champion Commodores. They just concluded a preseason scrimmage. They're second with the LC Bird Skyhawks after the one last week with the Salem Spartans. Coach, first and foremost, how glad are you with Mother Nature to get this entire scrimmage in with all the rain and humidity and thunderstorms that have been wreaking havoc all over the state?
Super glad, man. And for anybody that knows our scenario over the past definitely two, but maybe three, we haven't got that second scrimmage in over the past 2 years for sure. So like to get this in was huge. We needed the reps, and yeah, I'm just glad it worked out long enough. We were supposed to start at 6. I think we got started about 6:35 ish. So it worked out, no stoppage. It's what we needed. So I was glad about that.
And early on, your offense was very crisp. You have some new faces. Obviously, you have the returnees like Damo Everett, State Player of the Year quarterback, the JMU commit, Tayshawn Branch running back. But Samir Kroom, he's going to be a playmaker for you among many others that will be key guys as he took one to the house early on.
It's just guys stepping into spots, buying into what we do, and playing team football is just always what we do. And he's another piece and a couple of other pieces that people are going to find out about soon. But I'm pleased with a lot, but that's speaking off the live look. When we get to tonight, when we look at it, and tomorrow when we look at it, it might be a different story. But yeah, I mean, I like the sign of having playmakers and guys doing their job and playing team football, and it's good to see. And names will be coming out soon about who's who, so we'll find it out.
We'll hit on some of those new hidden gems throughout this journey. I know guys like a Traquan Duke steps up, among others. I go through the list of them. Zion, Buddy Mullen for your wide receiver. But is the biggest win from this tonight, everybody pays attention to scrimmage scores, which I think are irrelevant, but that you got out of here healthy with no real serious. I know that's been an issue for a lot of teams, including yours on championship runs, preseason, postseason, about having injuries. But a lot of your main guys, like the Everetts, the Branches, the Matt Williams, who does so much for the Vanderbilt commit, all got out of here with injury-free against a team that's got some dudes like an LSU commit and Chris Whitehead off the edge.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that you just hope on both sides, man. Like, you know, like we can speak about my side, but I don't want to see their studs go down. Like, nobody wants to see that. So it's good to come out healthy. That's probably the biggest thing in a scrimmage is coming out healthy, making sure that we get enough reps and enough bang. But that's probably the biggest plus out of anything. The scores is what it is, and I really don't keep track of that. But to get out healthy, to put some good stuff on tape, and even if we being honest, the good teams, even putting the bad stuff on tape, you want to be able to do that. So I think we got what we wanted to out of the second scrimmage.
How encouraged you when you have your post-game huddle with your group and you ask your coaches, players, any questions? The first one to raise his hand and ask a question without getting into the details of the question and your answer is your quarterback in Damo Everett, the guy who's the State Player of the Year coming back for his junior year.
That speaks volumes of him. That's who he is. You know, everybody. It's one of those things where everybody sees him throw the ball. Obviously, people know him as the Player of the Year, and you know his brother is doing well, and all of this stuff. But just how intentional he is about a lot of stuff, and it's not even now. It didn't start last year. It was his freshman year, and this is probably how I knew that he was going to be something special. Is because he's in a room with both Torrey Newkirk and Kendall Daniels. And
we're at North Carolina and South Carolina, respectively,
yes.
The Carolinas.
Yes. So to share that room with them, I think he gained a lot of experience with those guys and just knowledge. But when we're going over game plans each week, You know, I'm heavy in tune with Tori and Kendall and just making sure that they understand what we're trying to do, understand what we're trying to do. And here's this little freshman behind them just constantly asking questions. And maybe Kendall and Tori are over here, but he's on my hip. Hey, coach, I know you said if they give us this, what's this? And I'm looking like, man, this dude is like not even like going to be in with the ones, but he's so intentional about wanting to understand the game plan. So that question is just, it's who he is, man. He's super intentional. He's super like detailed. He wants to know everything to a T, and that's just, like I said, that's what makes him special.
Lastly, and appreciate your time. You heard it after every championship. The first one in 19, can they do it again? Can you repeat? Can you three-peat? Now it's can you four-peat? And there's obviously graduation changes, staff changes, all those different things that go into it. And you have a brutal schedule with the first 3 games of Mallard Creek, Verina, and Bishop McNamara. You can easily be 3-0, 0-3, 2-1, 1-2. You said to your guys that you're committed for 15 games in 16 weeks. Do you have a sense if this group is committed to that in the four-peat?
I think so. I think that any team you're going to have every team is different. And like I say all the time, like I'm not trying to make this team the 19 team. I'm not trying to make this team the 23. So on and so on last year's team. And there was hurdles with each team. So winning it doesn't mean that there was not any issues. It doesn't mean that everything was bad either. And that's where we are with this team, really just trying to figure out some stuff. But I think that we're committed. And it's going to take us a few games to figure ourselves out. And but to answer the question, do I feel like we're committed? Yeah. And I feel like we have majority of guys committed. But it's going to take us a little more. And they understand that. They take accountability with themselves to understand that. So, yeah, man, I feel good about this group. And sky's the limit. We just got to – 2 things, man. We can't get complacent. And the other thing that we can't control is staying healthy. And even if we don't, guys got to step up and next guy up. So that's where we're at. And we just got to take it week by week and get to second Saturday in December.
The buy-in is there for Coach McCain's Commodores on the road to a four-peat. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.
Hey, kids. We're back with joke time. Why did the teacher jump into the pool? She wanted to test the water. Get it? Test the water. Let's go back to 757 Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the testy Coach Ed Young.
He's testy, all right, back here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us this morning. What are you shaking? What? We're going to get to Dyrri McCain in a second. You got something to say?
You followed up a great interview with a state championship level coach with horrendous fool in the pool joke.
It wasn't horrendous. People are laughing all over the globe.
Woody's the only one laughing right now, guaranteed.
No, they're laughing all over the globe. Just don't hijack the show with any more of your clips, okay? That's all I ask. No more hijacking the show, okay?
If you can do fool in the pool every 4 minutes, me getting one clip, you know.
What is this?
Look at it. More of his shenanigans.
Water, oxygen, putting on your hottest swimsuit and dancing in the pool with your friends. Yeah, I can dig that. I can dig that.
See, that's the one. I'm glad you showed that because we don't normally see that. See, there's other things going on in that pool that we're not privy to. But I had a way to get that in there. I didn't know if you were going to show it. But Woody, what did you think of that? No, it's not hilarious. That was Matt and his ladies.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go back to Maury. Thank you, Gone Fishing over there watching to keep us back on our schedule here. Impressed with Maury's second team. I am too, Ed. I think the best part, I didn't even get into this with the scrimmage with Coach McCain in the interview. Third quarter, it's 3rd and 22 from the 28-yard line. And you've got Chris Whitehead on the field, who, by the way, is getting after your quarterback. And that was the thing we were talking about, staying healthy. You're worried about Chris Whitehead coming across and knocking either Matt Williams, who's receiver quarterback, or your main quarterback, Damo Everett, we talked about, the younger brother of the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive back in one. Dalen Everett, Damo at quarterback, getting hurt by him, but they got out of that healthy, no injuries. They've had injuries in the past, preseason, postseason, the whole bit. But 3rd and 22 from the 28, and their 3rd string quarterback, forgive me, I don't know his name. If anybody out there knows his name, I'll shout him out, throws a screen pass to the sideline, and he does a little zig, 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 and the guy goes 72 yards at a house against LC Bird. I mean, Maury was a machine in the scrimmage. Are they perfect? No. Are they beatable? Yes. Are those first 3 games tough? Very tough with Mallard Creek and Varina and Bishop McNamara on the road, which was the triple overtime classic last year. But as long as that guy's at the top of the food chain as far as leading the way, big whistle, Dyrri McCain, they're going to always have a chance. And I think he's going to put them in position to have a chance. His staff will, and their players are locked in and focused. And they're the best around right now. They really are. Everybody's coming for them, and they've embraced that challenge. What were your thoughts on his comments as they gear up for a drive for a 4P, which has happened before in the state ed? Hampton Crabbers in the 90s, Mike Smith's legendary teams with Ronald Curry leading the way. Phoebus, which started with the late, great Bill D and Taj Boyd, which we talked about with Bill D earlier, that article in the paper, started off in 2008. D leaves, goes to college, coached at CNU and ODU. Stan Sexton took over, and they won 3 more. It's happened at Highland Springs and Riverheads and other places in the state. Hasn't happened outside of Hampton and Phoebus in the 757. It would be historic, especially with the schedule they play.
Yeah, and Maury's up there with those teams. I mean, that anybody say they're not, crazy. And Coach does, I listen to him and I feel what he's saying is sometimes some coaches will come out and say, we're good and we're going to prove it again until somebody stops us. He's a little bit more reserved. And I think that's because he knows his weaknesses better than anybody else does. And until he gets those fixed, addresses the situation, he's going to feel that way. He's not boisterous about it. They've got to win it on the field. And like he said, he doesn't want to compare or think this team was exactly as what the other ones were. You got some new people. You got some people that go from being in a subservient type role to now main role. You're looking for some of your stud guys to be even better than what they were before. It's a lot of things still have to happen. Teams are going to get up for them. I said this when you told me months ago their schedule. Coach, my hat's off to you. Most teams will open up maybe one powerhouse, if you have a powerhouse, because I have my own thoughts on how to schedule. He's got 3 toughies right off the bat, and you hit it right on the head. Be 0-3. He could be 1-2, which is 2 things you don't want to be.
But you have to with that Eastern District schedule, because not to disparage the Eastern District, other than Lake Taylor, who's going to give them a push until the playoffs? Let's be honest.
And it's true. Right. I think when you have, part of my philosophy in scheduling, when you have a powerhouse team, you play your non-district, you play as many powerhouses as possible.
Sometimes. Here's my quick pushback to that before you finish up. We saw it, and I'll say that acknowledge. I think basketball, I had number 1 in state last year in Class 5, Massaponics, Aaron McFarland doing a fine job there, young guy from CNU. I thought they peaked in the summertime, and I thought they overscheduled early where they played I'll say it's public, I don't mind, the Varinas twice, John Marshall, Hampton, Woods. They played all these teams, and I thought it was a little bit too much. Now, did it help them? I'm sure it did. They won their region. They got to the state semis and lost to Norview. But I think sometimes for a program that hasn't arrived yet to do that, it can sometimes overwhelm you little bit. Maury's arrived, and now, because remember, when he first got his championship in 19, there people are still squawking about it. Why don't you play Oscar Smith? Why don't you play this team? Play that team. Folks, they've played Dinwiddie. They've played Highland Springs. They've played – who else have they played? I mean, they've scrimmaged Phoebus. They'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I think we have to acknowledge that is a big deal, especially in an Eastern District that's just not as tough as some of the other districts in the area and the state. I think you have to. He recognizes that. But the biggest thing you said, you nailed it, the vulnerabilities. He knows what they are, and he wants to make sure they're getting better game by game, week by week, because if you don't get better game by game, week by week, some of those teams don't end up repeating or winning it all, or in their case, complete the task of a 4P.
And by the way, Coach McCain does not have to take a backseat to anybody when it comes to scheduling games, that he's not scheduling tougher teams. Yes, people want to see a Phoebus, Maury, Smith, more, because you're talking about And the way it's being respectful, you're talking about 2 power teams, let's say. But he's stepping outside of the 757, not ducking the teams. Remember now, schedule's got to line up. You got your district games first, and then they have to line up. And you know, one thing, and the other thing about Maury, the 3 tough games at the beginning of the year, I think 2 were on the road. You know,
no. That was the case last year. Remember, it's a flip. But remember, last year they played Cardinal Gibbons on the road in Carolina, lost that. I don't know why they didn't. I'm not sure if it was an issue scheduling on Maury's or Cardinal Gibbons' part. They replaced him with Mallard Creek, who's a perennial power. Just like Oscar Smith last year played Gonzaga on the road. They were expected to get that game back at home, and I heard Gonzaga pulled the plug. I'm not sure how that all worked out. But the bottom line is, you home or road, I think that, you know, and he doesn't have to answer, like you said, to you, me, any talking heads or any fans about what he does with his schedule. That's his own prerogative, and he has to worry about his program, his players, and how to get them in position to do it. But they're a joy to watch. They're a machine. They run like a college program. They're disciplined. I think people can learn a lot just watching how they operate. And here's the biggest thing. I think as brilliant as he is, I think what keeps him at the top and makes him one of the best, and I think going to be cut up for college one day, is he's constantly trying to get better and asking questions and looking for ways to keep elevating himself. He's won the championships, but he's not resting on the laurels. He wants to get better. So I think that's why right now, you know, they're the gold standard. Let's just be honest. And I think it's because he's driven for excellence in his own self, not a guy that's got it and think he's a rock, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that, you know, he's become one of these, well, we're just going to do this, this, and this until you beat us because we're great.
Because you and I have seen, we won't say names, we've seen coaches, even younger coaches, that have done that. And then there's a drop-off sometimes. And it doesn't matter always about wins, losses. He's worried about, he gets the bigger picture. He does.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And, you know, I know some people turned a blind eye to, well, you know, he's recruited players, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're in an era now where, I mean, come on now, call it what it is. Kids are jumping all over the place. Yeah. I just saw on the internet the other day, kids announcing they're transferring, 8th graders are announcing they're transferring to this school. And I'm like,
well, and let me just spell that real quick. Recruiting, you got 1 transfer on last year's team. 1. There are schools throughout the 7x7 that had dozens. Now, are there more on this particular team? Yes. But as you know, when you win, sometimes it comes to the territory of kids wanting to come to your program and parents wanting to move their kid to that school, that zone, and play for that program. And we see it in basketball, the big elephant in the room right now. Petersburg just got 2 out-of-state kids, and people are screaming from the heavens about it. It happens.
And again, I've said this. If it's done the right way legally, sure, and VHSL has not put any sanctions on, or the school district, let it be.
But the more detractors, well, go ahead. The other point, go ahead.
Well, here's the other thing. When you have a program that attracts better players, it's people say, "Oh, if I had no players, I'd be winning too." You got to make the fits fit. You got to make sure. Again, high school levels is tougher. Egos, parents. Oh my God, parents. You got to make sure these things fit. And then the expectations, you know, high school is a heck of a lot tougher to do that than the college and pro level. So he's found a way to do it. They continue to do it. And like I said, hats off to him.
But here's the comment. I was impressed with Maury's second team. Why aren't we focused enough about the development by him and his coaches of the other guys that are not the household names? Because that's why Maury is who they are. He's gotten to state championships, lost a tough one to Stonebridge without some of the household names. And by the way, when he plays Verina in 2 weeks, I'm going to say this publicly, and I don't care if people get mad at me. Verina is more talented on paper than Maury. They are. They have more division. You can watch our ticker. They have more FBS and FCS current commits. Division I, they got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys right now to Maury's 3 at the moment. Does that mean that they're better coach, better? No, they have more talented upperclassmen on its roster. So what I'm getting at is that's a big reason those great programs, and Verina's going to have a chip on its shoulder because they lost at home last year. They want to come down here and show 804 football is better than 757 football. And by the way, that game's going to be a war. Maury's got to be careful not to get caught up in some of the hoopla and take care of business that's in front of them, which is Mallard Creek coming up on Friday. It's one of the games of the week. And that's on Friday. You have, like I mentioned, other games, Western Branch Phoebus. You have Lansdowne Kellam the Beach. You have Indian River Granby. A lot of good games to peruse from. And our picks will be back with you on VirginiaPreps.com. Our preview show coming up on Thursday. I'm sorry, our preview show coming up on Monday. First games are on Thursday night and a lot more on Friday. And we're back in the swing of things, Ed. Back in the swing of things. This was fun and a busy show. And looking forward to what's coming up with this season as your summer is dwindling and you got to go back to school soon. I got to go back to school this week. I got 2 days this week. I don't know about you. I got 2 days at school this week.
There's what should be segments we have. Matt Hatfield in his substitute teaching days, especially when he has the kiddies, the kindergarten kids. That would make interesting segment instead of Fool in the Pool.
The Self-Esteem Queen says hello to you. And as we bid adieu.
Oh, that's my girl, Fiona Huff. Oh, girl, that young lady is. She's out there in the 757 today getting her swag on. I wish I can remember exactly where it was. But Fiona Huff, if you see anything involved with Fiona Huff, get to her wherever she's at. She's a self-esteem queen, and she is tremendous for young ladies throughout the 757.
Do you get like a commission for this plug? You must.
I know. I'm just speaking from the heart. I know the young lady. She was a student at Norview years ago.
Okay.
Cheerleader. And I've kept up with her over the years, and she's just done a tremendous job. Outstanding young lady. Really works her butt off to help others. This is why the attraction is there. She is in it to make others, more so than herself, sacrificing a lot to help others, and that needs to be rewarded.
Good deal. All right, we thank all of our guests from Dyrri McCain of Maury, Joey Wood of Great Bridge, Gerard Johnson from LC Bird, as well as Mark Williams from the NBA's Phoenix Suns, he of Norfolk Academy fame, and, of course, David Teel, the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer. He's the coach, Ed Young. I'm Matthew Hatfield. We'll do it next time. Again, don't forget, you can watch us on TV. That's right, we're on Eureview and Cox. Mondays, 8 o'clock, Tuesday, 12 noon, Wednesdays, 4 Eastern as well. Those channels, check your local listings if you're in Hampton Roads, Northern Virginia, Fredericksburg, or Roanoke. It's also streaming all the time on Cova Sports TV. Hit that like button, the share button, and most importantly, the subscribe button to get notified when we do go live with anything on our platform. It can be us talking, yakking away, live sports like the Virginia Beach Mustangs, Atlantic Shores football, which is coming up on Friday night, and so much more. But Ed, we'll leave you with not Poolside Adventures. You say, thank goodness to the heavens. But you remember that show, Rocky and Bullwinkle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Rocky the Flying Squirrel? Well, I stumbled upon not a flying squirrel, but one recently. Squirrel's got a nut. Found something. Having a good time. He's got the nut. Off to the races.